Hello everybody, it's Foo here, bringing you my WBE Let's Go draft breakdown. This is so exciting for me because I haven't done a draft league in a while, I haven't done Wi-Fi battling in a while, so this will be really fun. I was invited to join by A-Drive and there are 9 other great coaches. I'll leave all their links in the description below because they will all be uploading their draft analysis too. But this is a Let's Go league. I'll go through the rules now just before we go into the draft. It will be Wi-Fi battles with normal rules, 6v6, 20-minute timer, and we are aware that that 20-minute timer is short. We want these battles to finish because there's nothing more dissatisfying than having a great, intense battle come down to timer and not really getting the satisfying conclusion you wanted. It's frustrating for us. It's not as entertaining for you guys. So we're actually implementing a 20-second turn rule, which is self-implemented, and basically you have to pick your move really quickly. So they should make for some pretty fast-paced, action-packed battles. On the same token, the move rest is banned because it allows for too much stall. It would take too long for the battles to finish, so no one is allowed to use the move rest. And there are also some Pokemon bans. So you can't use Mewtwo, obviously. There aren't any counters for that, really. So whoever picked that would probably just win the league. You can't use Mew or Melmetal for 2 reasons. First off, again, there are very few counters to them. And so not everyone in the 10-person league would have answers to them, so whoever picked them will be at an unfair disadvantage. And also they're kind of hard to get. So in this league, everything has to be caught and trained up in the game. You can't hack or gen anything. And these two aren't very easy to get, so not everyone would have been able to pick them, which again is an unfair advantage to some people over others. And then we have Mega Gengar and Mega Alakazam, both being very fast, very powerful, and with very few counters in the draft. So whoever picked them would have an unfair advantage. So they're just being banned too. Everything else is fair game. So with that said, let's get into my draft breakdown. And I ended up having first overall pick. So I picked Mega Aerodactyl, which is amazing. I didn't actually intend to pick this Mega. I wanted a lower tier one to support with some elite non-Mega picks. But having first pick meant that I just wanted to guarantee that I got something that was really good, because I wouldn't then get another pick till everyone had had their first and their second picks. That's 18 picks later. So if I had a lower tier Mega and then wanted some elite picks, I couldn't guarantee that I'd get what I wanted. I just wanted to make sure I got something amazing. I know that Mega Aerodactyl is amazing, and I will tell you why. It's got an incredible speed stat, a base 150 speed stat, which nothing else beats. Only Electrode ties with that. And Electrode definitely isn't on the same level as Mega Aerodactyl. Mega Aerodactyl has a really good attack stat too, and it's got that nice Rock Slide Earthquake coverage, which nothing resists in the Let's Go meta, which is really great. It's got some other nice coverage moves. It's got decent bulk and access to Roost and some really good utility too. So I think it's a really good Pokemon. It's the full package here. It does have that weakness to Stealth Rock, which might hold it back a little bit in this meta because you can't remove Stealth Rock from the field, which means that every time Aerodactyl comes in, it potentially takes 25% of its health in damage. But with that reasonable bulk and with that access to Roost, I think it's definitely still an amazing pick, and I'm so excited to use it. So then I had to wait 18 excruciating picks while all the amazing Pokemon like Starmie, Zapdos, Alolan all were picked up before I got another pick. But I was really happy with my second pick, which is Nidoking. Nidoking, I think, is fantastic in the league format just because of its incredible coverage move pool. It gets all sorts of moves, all sorts of offensive moves, which is really helpful. It also gets Stealth Rock, which takes a bit of pressure off my Mega Aerodactyl to run Stealth Rock, so it can be a bit more offensive, which is really helpful too. And it's got that nice Poison Ground typing, which means I have an electric immunity, which gives me a ton of momentum. So I think Nidoking really adds a lot to my team. There's a bit of controversy over whether Nidoking or Nidoqueen is better. Both were available when I picked Nidoking. I went with Nidoking because it does have that better speed stat, which I think will be more important for me being able to chip some of the really powerful, scary things like Mega Venusaur, Mega Blastoise. I can outspeed them and get some chip damage, whereas Nidoqueen would not outspeed. So I think for me that was the biggest consideration in this pick. And then I had my consecutive third pick because I had the wheel, which is really helpful so I can make sure that I've got some synergy going on. And I picked Poliwrath. I've been using Poliwrath in Wi-Fi battles and it is really solid. It's such a good Pokemon now. It gets super power, which makes it probably the best fighting type because it's got that really strong stab move. It's got amazing coverage in Stab, Waterfall, and also Ice Punch, which is so hard to switch in on. And it's got the bulk up option for setup. It's got some other nice utility, a decent special move pool if you want to dabble with that. But just being a reliable bulky water type with that strong fighting stab, it's so good. And another really good reason for me to pick it is that I've already got Mega Aerodactyl, and Poliwrath is a great answer to Mega Aerodactyl. So picking it here means that no one else can pick it, and I have one less thing to fear with my Mega Aerodactyl. So I think it was a really helpful pick to get right there. And I already know that some other people in the league had their eye on it too. So it was a really savvy one, and I'm very pleased with Poliwrath. Again, I then had to wait another 18 long, slow picks until I could get my next Mons, but I was really surprised with some of the things that were left, and one of those things was Venusaur, which I think is the premier grass type in the Let's Go meta, aside from Mega Venusaur, obviously. I think that Venusaur really does the best job. It switches in on grass types as good as anything. It's got that strong Giga Drain and Sludge Bomb. Its stats are really, really nice, and then obviously all of those utility moves, the powders, Leech Seed. So it's such a solid pick. I've again used this thing in some Wi-Fi battles and it's very reliable. It really does a lot of work and I just love using it. You can just count on it to do the work. So very happy that I was able to get Venusaur, which I thought would go like round 2 or 3. And then my round 5 pick, which blew me away even more that it had lasted this long, was Snorlax. Snorlax is so good, and I'm so happy I got it because of all of that special bulk. In a meta where you don't have many dark types, you don't have many steel types, psychic types are king, and there really aren't many switch-ins. Even the dark types can't switch in very well because pretty much all psychic types get Dazzling Gleam. But Snorlax eats any of those special hits up for 4 days. It's got fantastic physical coverage to threaten the psychic types with. I need to keep in mind that you can't use rest, so this guy won't have any recovery, but he does have that just natural bulk, which will hopefully be able to chip things away, force some switches, and I think that it will be very helpful. I just can't believe that it lasted this long, because I was considering it for my 2nd or 3rd pick, to be honest. We then have to wait another 18 picks, and these were probably the most painful because I had got my eye on a few things that did go. But my 5th pick was Cadabra, which did raise some eyebrows, but I'm pretty sure that that was only because people had slept on it and didn't realise how great Cadabra's offensive stats are. It's got a base speed stat of 105 and a base special attack stat of 120, and as I've just said, psychic types really rule in this meta. Now obviously Alakazam had already gone, that went like round 2, so I'm not being really stupid and not picking Alakazam. I picked Cadabra, I'm very happy about it. It's got really good coverage, it's got some really nice utility too, and that speed stat of 105 is really going to pay dividends. The mons that I kind of had my eye on and missed out on were Mr. Mime and Jinx, which are both slower than Alakazam, and Mr. Mime is not as powerful either, and also Alolan Ninetales, which though it is faster, it's a lot less powerful than Cadabra. So I'm really happy with the Cadabra pick, and I think it does give me what I needed. I just need to bear in mind, it's the definition of a glass cannon. It will go down to pretty much any physical hit and most special hits too, so just need to be really careful about when I bring this thing in. And then my next pick, which was a consecutive pick, was Electabuzz. As an electric type, I think Electabuzz does really well, and both this and Cadabra really patch up that big gap that was developing between most of my Pokemon having middling speed and then my super fast Aerodactyl and then like a vast gulf in the middle. These two fill that gulf pretty nicely. So Electabuzz is a nice offensive mon, it's got those electric type moves, but actually what it has over a lot of other electric types in this meta is it's got really good coverage options, both physical and special, so it can really adapt week on week to what I need it to be. Unfortunately, some of the other electric types have gone, and Alolan Raichu, which is probably the premier electric type, had already, well, aside from Zapdos, obviously, but that was a round 1 pick, so I was never going to get that. But yeah, Alolan Raichu had gone, but I do think that this, the Electabuzz is really solid, and I'm very excited to use it. I think it's probably one of my favourite picks in this draft. So yeah, that Electabuzz will do work, I promise you. We then had to wait 18 more picks, and we're getting to the stage of the draft where you just have to pick the most viable things because synergy is sort of not really a consideration anymore. There aren't enough things there. We've got like 80 picks down out of 151 Pokemon, and there are a lot of pre-evolutions there. So to get anything good at this stage would be great, and I did because I got Kabutops. On first look, it may look like type redundancy between Aerodactyl and Poliwrath, but really it's more type reinforcement because Kabutops is very strong. It's definitely a wall breaker with access to Sword Stance, so it can maybe break through some walls that would otherwise give Mega Aerodactyl or Poliwrath some trouble, and then later on they can do a lot more work in the battle. It also gives me strong priority, which I was lacking currently, and there isn't actually very much strong priority at all in Let's Go, so having that is a big niche that is very nice to have. And also another Stealth Rock user, which again alleviates some of the pressure on Nidoking and Mega Aerodactyl to run Stealth Rock. So I really like this Kabutops pick, and actually I'm really excited to use it. I think it's such a cool Pokemon, which I haven't used in the draft format yet, so very looking forward to using that. And then my consecutive pick after was Articuno. Having a Pokemon with such amazing stats this late in the draft is pretty nice, but it does come with a big caveat that Articuno is very weak to Stealth Rock. It'll lose half its health when switching in on Stealth Rock, and that's not ideal because you can no longer remove them in Let's Go. But it does have amazing bulk and access to roost, so even if it does take that 50%, it generally can take a hit and roost off the damage, which is very good. It also gives me nice Ice Stab, which I didn't have before, which will really help out with some of the ground types that give a lot of my team quite a bit of problems. So having Ice Stab for that will be really nice. And all in all, I just really like this Pokemon. I really like it. I don't know how useful it's going to be, but if I can bring it a couple of times this season, I will be happy that I've got some value out of my 9th pick. We then wait 18 more picks to see what all the other guys have left me as the last pick overall in this draft. Is there anything at all viable? Well, I picked Sidra because I do think it was the most viable and most helpful thing for me as this last pick. I had considered Ghastly, which might give you an idea of the kind of playing field we're looking at when I was making this decision. But Ghastly's actually got decent speed and decent special attack. It just is so frail and doesn't give me enough to warrant picking it. Whereas Sidra, I do think it does. I've got 2 water types already, but this is a special attacking water type, which I didn't really have. And it's got some nice utility there. It's got some really good coverage. And it gives me speed boosting as well, which I didn't have currently. Well, I did on like Mega Aerodactyl, but I don't really need to boost its speed. Maybe a couple of other things do have speed boosting, but this thing has speed boosting for the potential to sweep. So it does give me that. I don't know how useful that will be, but I do foresee myself bringing Sidra at least once this season, so that's really helpful, whereas Ghastly probably not. Although Ghastly might have done a bit more work on the bench because I then have a ghost type that's immune to normal and fighting type moves. I don't know. But anyway, that is my draft, which I'm really happy with. I'm aware that there may be some gaps in this draft and some weaknesses, but that just goes with the territory of having a 151 Pokemon pool and 100 picks. You're never going to get everything that you want because everyone is really scrapping over the roles that they need to fill. Please let me know your thoughts on my draft. Do you think it's any good? And also, if you go and watch the other guys' drafts, make some comparisons, tell me who you think is looking strongest with their draft, tell me how you think mine compares with other guys, and also let me know what you would have picked. If you had first overall pick like I did, would you have picked Mega Aerodactyl or would you have picked something else? I'd be really interested to know. But that's going to be all for today. These battles will be starting in January to allow us time to get the Pokemon, because as I said, we'll have to catch them in game, we'll have to train them up, so no genning, no hacking. This is going to take a little bit of preparation, but I'm really excited for that. I think it's going to be really good. It's going to keep me busy over the holiday period. If you're hyped for this, please give this video a thumbs up. I really hope that people are going to get behind this series and some Wi-Fi battling on the channel again, which I haven't had it in a while. I'm really excited for it, so if you could give a like in support, that will be fantastic. But all that's left to be said is I've been Fufu, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.